Today on Dr. Phil, she wants custody of her unborn grandchild.
This white woman doesn't have the right to say you guys aren't fit.
Is mom being protective?
She's telling her mother that you're hitting her.
I've never hit Kirsten.
Why is she saying that if it's not true?
Or controlling?
Jaden is a waste of perfectly good breathing space. He just needs to go away.
I'm scared of her. She's a terrifying woman.
You are so fake.
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. How you doing? Hello? Take a look at this cute young couple, about 7 months pregnant and ready to be a family. But my guest today, Karen, says her daughter's pregnancy is far more bitter than sweet. Karen says after her daughter, Kirsten, met Jaden, he's done nothing but use and abuse her. Karen is terrified for her daughter, but is even more terrified for her future granddaughter. She says she has every intention of getting custody of the baby immediately after she is born. But Kirsten and Jaden are adamant that they will not be handing over the newborn to Karen.
I'm in the last trimester of my pregnancy, and my mom is pursuing custody of my unborn baby. My mom hates my fiancé, Jaden, because she thinks he's both mentally and physically abusive. She thinks he's lazy. He's gonna be an unfit parent.
I didn't want Kirsten to tell her mother about the baby because I knew she would come in and manipulate the situation and take the baby. You have to kick her out. It's the only way to keep our baby.
My mom thinks that Jaden is a deadbeat and he's never going to be financially stable. She threatens me with taking my baby to keep me away from Jaden.
She already hired a lawyer to make a deal with Kirsten to exile me out of my baby's life. I want her gone.
My mom wants to cut Jaden's parental rights off completely. She doesn't want him to have anything to do with our child.
You need to learn how to put your foot down.
My mom told me that if I was to sit down and sign over the rights of my child, that I would have more of a say in the matter. If not, she's going to withhold my child from me.
Kirsten and I told Karen that we were going to fight her to the very end for our daughter. Karen told Kirsten that she's going to lose and the baby will be hers.
Well, Karen says her reason for wanting custody of her grandchild is rational. She believes a young couple will just simply be unfit parents. She says there is absolutely no way she will allow them to condemn this baby to a lifetime of struggling.
My daughter Kirsten is a very smart girl who started making bad decisions, and the worst one she ever made was being with Jaden. Jaden is abusive, controlling, manipulative, and a liar. He's just a horrible human being. I cannot stand him. I want him out of my life. He needs to stay the hell away from my daughter, but I sure as hell don't want him anywhere near my grandkid. Jaden has manipulated my daughter to go back to him and stay in this disgusting, filthy motel. I know there's registered sex offenders and drug users. Together, Jaden and Kirsten have created a horrible environment for each other and an even worse environment for the baby. Kirsten puts herself in harm's way every single day by being with Jaden, and if she's not going to protect herself or that baby, I have to. My plan is for her to come over and bond with the baby, feed the baby, bathe the baby. Jaden, however, would not be allowed to come to my home or be able to see this baby without supervised visitations. He's already made threats to run off to the reservation. There is nothing in the world that Jaden could ever do to ever get on my good side, ever.
Okay, so you're going to have to fill us all in here because looking at the two of you, you're the one that's pregnant.
Yes.
So this is your baby.
Yes.
So under what theory would you think you have any right to someone else's baby?
Somebody has to stand up for this baby and to be a voice for her.
But you're talking about this to your daughter as though it's up to you. I've decided I'm going to take your baby because I don't think you're going to raise it right.
Right.
Well, who gives you that right?
When there's abuse and when there's drugs.
The baby hasn't been born yet.
She's being abused. She's being physically abused. That's not okay. And when she begs me for help, when she also tells other people, including her own counselor, that she's scared to death of Jaden.
Are you being abused?
No.
Have you been abused?
No.
Have you told your mother you're being abused?
I have in the past exaggerated stories and lied out of anger. Then whenever I went to go tell her the truth, that he wasn't doing those things, she didn't believe me.
So you've lied?
Yes.
Well, how do I know whether you were lying then or you're lying now?
Because he hasn't.
You've gone to your mother and said, I've been beaten and abused.
Yes.
But in fact, you weren't.
Yes.
Okay. Have you told other people you were beaten and abused?
Yes.
Did you tell a counselor you were beaten and abused?
Yes.
And now, because you want to keep this baby and you want to be with Jaden, you're saying, no, I made all that up at the time.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Is that believable?
No, and I can see why it's not.
Mm-hmm. Are you on drugs?
No.
Is she on drugs?
Yes.
How do you know that?
She's already admitted that she smoked pot. And
what else?
Kirsten is an opiate user and has been for years.
Have you done opiates during your pregnancy?
No.
Is this baby subject to being born addicted to some type of drug?
No, I have smoked marijuana, but I haven't done any of the opiates or any of that other stuff.
Then why did you tell me you did?
I didn't tell you I did.
You're pregnant and you're smoking pot, and you've obviously been doing it your whole pregnancy. Correct? Yes? I'm worried. I'm worried about her, and you know this. It's just not okay. That's not okay.
Jaden says that you are filling her head with poison and lies and alienating her from him when he, in fact, simply wants to raise his child.
You know, he is just poison himself. Jaden is a waste of perfectly good breathing space. He is poison to my daughter.
You say he's abusive, controlling,
Extremely.
manipulative.
He always has been since day one. I'm never going to respect a person who physically abuses my daughter and who manipulates her and beats her up and hurts her in every aspect and obviously is okay with her doing drugs and does drugs with her. What kind of a man does that?
We're going to add Jaden to this conversation. We'll hear what he has to say when we come back.
Karen lies about me all the time.
Jaden has put cigarettes out on her face at least twice.
And she thinks she has proof. I would love to see it because I've never hit Kirsten.
And later,
Was that before or after you said all those horrible things about me in front of everyone?
Because you're a horrible person. I'm going to say horrible things about you.
She's a terrifying woman.
And you just shut up because you don't know anything. Jaden is so controlling, he won't let her take a job unless they also hire him. One particular job Kirsten had, they said she did wonderful and she was a really hard worker, but she lost her job because of Jaden.
Karen says Jaden is a manipulative, abusive waste of space and wants Kirsten to wake up and smell the roses. Now, Kirsten says she knows why her mother thinks Jaden is abusive, but says Karen just refuses to listen to the truth.
Karen is mean, disrespectful, rude, inconsiderate. Karen lies about me all the time and she doesn't care if it's true or not.
Jaden has put cigarettes out on her face at least twice. Staff members at a place where she used to live have seen it on camera.
And she thinks she has proof. I would love to see it. because I've never hit Kirsten. Ever since she's entered my life, she's been a cancer. Karen's crazy. She's always filling Kirsten's head with lies about me. She's destructive and inhumanely evil. 95% of me thinks she will never change. I knew she was a snake. I knew she wanted my baby.
Kirsten has told my husband and I so many times about the abuse and begged us to go and tell him to leave her alone. And I told him that if I ever found out that he laid another hand on my daughter, that I was going to put my hands on him.
I will never see Karen as a mother-in-law at all.
Okay, Jaden, I'm glad you are joining this conversation. You've been listening to everything so far, right?
Yes.
All right. There are some allegations on the floor that you have been abusive to Kirsten, which the logic follows that if you're abusive to her,
Yes.
that the child would be in danger.
Yeah.
True or false?
Very false.
She's telling her mother that you're hitting her. Why is she saying that if it's not true?
Out of anger, I guess. Because the more abusive one is her.
If she comes to me and says you're beating her up, I'm going to at least put on the table the theory that you're beating her up.
Yeah, I understand that.
I'm not just going to say, well, she's
fair.
lying. I'm going to believe her until I have evidence to the contrary.
Yeah. I understand. It sounds insane. I mean, people who know me, actually know me, she met me 5 times, seen me in person 5 times, talked to me 7 times. She hunted me down at work. She follows us. She watches outside our house. I haven't done anything to her or say anything really bad to her.
Really? Okay.
Okay. I'm not.
You are so fake.
You say that Kirsten is bipolar and she's the one with the anger problem.
She is.
Would you consider yourself to be at risk for erratic behavior? Would you consider yourself to be at risk for explosive anger?
Not as much as before.
More so than someone that does not have
Yes.
the challenge to manage.
Yes.
So if you had a baby and you were sleep deprived and the baby was crying and the baby was creating stress for you, could that create a perfect storm that could cause you to have explosive anger if you didn't have this regulated by the time you had the baby?
That's why he's here, to help me.
Parenting is often a partnership.
Yes.
So you have to examine whether you have an effective partner or not. You have a child, correct?
Yes.
And how are you doing on raising your current child?
He's pretty much one of the best kids I've ever seen in my life.
How often do you see the child?
We just started last month, and it's been growing because me and the mother have differences.
And the child is how old?
5.
Because when we asked you about that, you said, I think his mother or grandmother has custody of.
Well, the grandmother has custody.
But you said, I think you don't know who has custody.
No, the grandmother does. I confirmed it.
Since we talked to you?
Yeah.
Because at the time we did the pre-interview with you, you said, I think the grandmother has custody.
I had to call my mother about it and talk to her about it.
You didn't know who had custody of your 5-year-old child?
Not before then, no.
You didn't know?
No.
So you're not financially stable enough to have custody of that child, but you're now going to have a second child?
Yeah. It's going to be difficult.
All right, well, Kirsten and Jaden say they have a plan to raise their daughter, and Karen needs to leave them alone. Well, I plan on asking them exactly what that plan is when we come back, and I'm going to share some information with them that I think might help them evaluate their own plan. We'll be right back.
Our engagement came about romantically, although without a ring.
I am absolutely not shocked she doesn't have a ring because, cute, where is she going to get one?
Kirsten and I wanted to get engaged because we felt no one in the whole world made us feel as comfortable as we do with each other. And we want to grow old together.
Show me the ring.
Our engagement came about romantically, although without a ring.
I am absolutely not shocked she doesn't have a ring because, puke, where is she going to get one?
We were just sitting there talking one day. He asked me if I would marry him, and I said yes.
I'm obviously shocked. I don't even know what to say to this right now.
Kirsten asked me, when did I want to get married? I said, let's get married on the Dr. Phil show while we're in LA. Who better to acknowledge it than Dr. Phil? I think Karen would respect me a little more if I was to marry her daughter and show her that I'm committed to her.
I'm sorry, I just want to vomit.
Okay, well, let's put that on hold for a bit. So, what are y'all discussing while all this is going on here? Y'all been...
Oh, we're just keeping each other strong because all these people laughing, everyone judging us by a single story from her.
From me? I'm not the one who...
I mean,
I'm not the one who brought us here. You brought me here.
No, she brought you here to either tell you to get off our backs. Stop,
She could simply ask me if that
She tried.
No, she never did. And you just shut up because you don't know anything.
Because you do.
Well, I don't want you to shut up.
I'm not gonna. Not on her side.
I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you have to say because I learn when people talk. And sorry, but it's my name on the ball.
I just can't stand him. I'm sorry. I just can't.
What? What do you want to do?
He just needs to go away.
Well, since that's not going to happen,
I know.
would it be all right if I went ahead and talked to him?
Yes.
I was trained as a forensic psychologist, among other things, and that means psychology in the law. And one of the roles that I often filled was to evaluate people in your situation to determine their fitness as parents.
Oh,
okay. And I often talked to people that were not even almost fit as parents. But, I never just said, you are unfit to be parents. I said, you are unfit to be parents, and here is your roadmap to getting back to where you need to be. This is what you need to do to become fit parents. And every state has a set of criteria that they use to determine whether you're fit parents or whether you're not. And I put them together for you in your state. Number one, they look to see if you have mental and physical health. That will be evaluated. It won't be a matter of what you say or don't say or what you've said or not said in the past. But that's a very doable thing. Yeah. Both of you, very doable thing. That one you can handle and manage. So you don't have a problem there if you're responsible enough to do what you have to do. Then you have to have the capacity and disposition to provide the child with protection, food, clothing, medical care, and other basic needs. Now, do you have a job?
I'm getting one on my way back. I was supposed to actually go to an interview, but they stopped this because...
But you don't have a job now?
No, not right now.
And how long has it been since you've had a job?
A couple weeks? Roofing?
You don't have a job?
No.
So neither one of you have a job. You need to get a job. It doesn't matter to me. It matters to you. Because an evaluator is going to determine whether or not you're bringing home a regular paycheck to feed and clothe your baby. Don't kill the messenger. I'm just telling you, that's the yardstick they're going to measure you with. And ability to give the child love, affection, guidance, education, and impart the family's religion or creed. You guys can certainly do that. But you can't be in a situation where there's violence in the home. You can't have that, right?
Yeah.
Willingness to maturely encourage and provide frequent and meaningful contact between the child and the other parents. So if You got to make sure that you've got a family situation around this child. You got to prepare them for responsible adulthood. And you've got to have exemplary modeling so the child witnesses firsthand what it means to be a good parent, a loving spouse, and a responsible citizen. And you can't do that if you're doing drugs. You can't do that if you're not working. You can't do that if you're not taking care of you don't have a stable living arrangement. Do y'all have a stable home now where you're living?
No.
It's the bad side of town.
I did a street view. There are 80 registered sex offenders within a 1-mile radius of where you're currently staying. Where are you living now?
In a motel.
You're living in a motel now.
Mm-hmm.
Is it in a safe neighborhood?
People think that it's the bad side of town.
I did a street view. I'm not showing where it actually is, but this is the neighborhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
I also did something else. I went to the registered sex offender and I checked to see, these are the registered sex offenders within 1 mile of where you're staying. There are 80 registered sex offenders within a 1-mile radius of where you're currently staying. I just thought I'd check on a few of these, and I've blurred this guy's face and name because I don't want anybody going over a day and beating the hell out of him. But he's convicted of felony sexual contact with a minor under 16, particularly sexual contact with 2 victims, 7-year-old females. We've checked another one, this one right here, sexual contact with 3 9-year-old females, federal abuse. Then we checked this one right down a block away, convicted of possession, manufacture, and distribution of child pornography. Victims were a 4-year-old girl and an 8-year-old girl. These were all within a block or two of where you're currently staying. So if that's where you're currently staying, I'm just telling you, if you're challenged on your fitness as a parent, that's not a good mark. These are things that all can be addressed and fixed. And what I'm saying is, if you want to be fit parents and you want to have a chance to raise this baby, you have to address those things that would exclude you as a parent. And I get the sneaking suspicion, whoever starts and triggers it, that one of the things is you have a volatile relationship between the two of you. That would be true. That would be true. I can help you with that. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. But do y'all have a volatile relationship, one that blows up and you have arguments and anger, whether it's her attacking you and you defending or what, however it starts, you wind up having physical altercations?
Well, really, the only fights we've ever had was always, she's the topic.
Regardless of the topic, wait a minute, it doesn't matter. You don't care about that. It doesn't matter what the topic is, whether it's her or the Beatles or whatever. It doesn't matter the topic. It does happen.
Why not, blow up, destroy everything and hurt everything? Just more arguing, taking walks, and then...
Arguing back and forth and then going our separate ways for a little bit is what we've learned really helps.
Not kicking someone out of someone's life completely.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a break. Karen says she plans on getting custody of her granddaughter as soon as possible. We'll talk about if that's likely to happen or not. We'll be right back.
Karen has taught Kirsten nothing but negativity about the Native American culture. She thinks Native Americans sit on the reservation and do drugs and drink all day. This white woman is coming into our lives and taking our baby. She isn't even blood related. Why would she do that to her daughter? Someone she says she loves.
I'm trying to talk to you guys about criteria that will be used to evaluate the two of you as a couple and your fitness as parents. It's kind of like I'm giving you the answers to the test.
Yeah.
But y'all seem more interested in whispering back and forth than listening to what I'm trying to tell you. And I'm trying to say, if you'll be honest with me and tell me what's going on, I'm prepared to try to get you some help to try to resolve these issues and make you bulletproof here. But you seem more in denial about this than you are interested in getting real about it.
It's not that we're in denial. We know where we're at and we're in a tough spot. We're not in the best position we could be.
Because we have everything talked out, planned out. It's just, I wanted to go before this. I wanted to cancel this. I planned on it because this doesn't really help the situation with me and her.
What have you two heard from me since you've been here?
Get
a
job.
That we do need to get a job and get stuff stable, but we do have the ability to do it.
You said you didn't want to come here, you wanted to cancel this, and that this is not helpful.
I don't think it is. This doesn't seem really, something we needed. And we're actually not even getting a chance to talk to her. She's still doing what she's doing when we're by ourselves with her. She's still crushing us and saying all this stuff. And what she makes us do and what lengths would actually have to go to.
Because when you're mad and going and banging on someone's door.
Making a little girl cry. You made her cry.
Whose door did I bang on?
Mine.
You did. Who? The night that you
His motel room that he wasn't even there at? And then a little girl, as in some, 16, 18-year-old girl that opened the door and said, Jaden's at his friend's house. I said, okay, thank you.
But when you're banging and kicking at his door.
I never kicked on that door, and you know it.
Yeah, you
did.
Get
the polygraph out here,
sitting
please.
Across the street.
Please.
Sitting in your car, staring.
Well, anyway.
You were with me, because remember you wanted to get dropped off. Because you were making the decision to move out yet again to go live with him. And then you changed your mind, remember? Because you said, no, I don't want this life. Remember?
Was that before or after you said all those horrible things about me in front of everyone?
Because you're a horrible person. I'm going to say horrible things about you. Only the truth.
You don't even know me. You really don't.
What I do know is nothing but bad stuff.
What kind of person do you have watching us to tell us
We don't have anybody watching you. Boy, please.
Well, then how come you always say you're being watched? I have people watching you. It's like...
I don't have anyone watching you.
Then why do you say it?
Kirsten, when you're walking down the street at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I have friends who actually work, go on a job site and say, why is your daughter out walking the streets at 3 o'clock in the morning? What do I have to say about that? Why are you out walking the streets at 3 o'clock in the morning, crying?
We're both Native American. Pretty much that's her coming down to the reservation, seeing a pregnant Native woman and saying, I want your baby.
You said there are things you wanted to say without her yelling you down that you haven't had a chance to say. So she's not going to interrupt, and the floor is yours.
And I don't understand why she's trying to take a baby that's not even closely blood related to her. We're both Native American. That's an adopted mom.
Well, I'm Hispanic.
Please.
Sorry.
Pretty much that's her coming down to the reservation, seeing a pregnant Native woman and saying, I want your baby. You're not financially stable. You're not able to take anything to help this baby, and I can provide it a better future. I was scared. I'm scared of her. I mean, I seem like I'm not scared of her, but she is a terrifying woman. I don't know. I just wanted her to understand that we're not alone anymore. we're not by ourselves, just us two, scared of her anymore. There's people who stood up and told us, she doesn't have the right to say you guys aren't fit. I mean, we're young, and we plan on getting married. We plan on doing everything, but not everyone has a good life. Not everyone, has success. I came here to try to be her friend, pretty much. I came here to try. That's what she convinced me of. That's what everyone convinced me of, is at least attempt to be something towards her.
You said, Jaden, everybody doesn't have a good life, but everybody ought to have a shot. If you two have a relationship where it gets violent, that's a deal breaker. And you are the mother here. If you allow yourself to be in a situation where you are hit, threatened, abused in any way, you're now putting your baby in jeopardy, and don't you do it. You need professional help with it. I will provide you that professional help, but you have to tell me you need it, and then we help you. By the way, we did a drug screen on Kirsten. All type prescription drugs. She's negative on everything. She is not positive for a single drug. So this mother is drug-free.
Good. Stay that way.
Seriously, that's what you have to say?
No, I'm glad. I'm thankful, but she needs to stay that way.
You just told me at the top of the show, I know damn well she is on drugs. I know she is on drugs. I guarantee you, as a fact, she is on drugs. And I tell you, we drug screened her, and she is completely clean on everything.
I'm glad.
And your response is, well, then stay that way.
Well, I didn't say it like that, but I'm glad. But
Hell, you didn't. Do you want me to play it back? Give her the credit for what she does right.
I do.
Okay. All right. I'm very glad you're drug-free.
Yes.
Very glad you're drug-free. Best of luck to you. Apparently, it's really good to get old, so we thought we'd play our own little numbers game. Can anyone guess Carrie's age? Carrie is really, drum roll please. We are living longer these days, and apparently it's really good to get old, because 40 is the new 30, 60 is the new 40, which means 70 must be the new 50. People today are doing amazing things at all ages and defying the odds. Take a look at what these folks can do.
What's going on here today?
Well, I'm going shopping.
Try to move every muscle every day, so let's get down and do some push-ups. Anything the young can do, the old can do better.
Joining us today is the very youthful Dr. Frida Lewis Hall. Glad to have you here.
Always glad to be here.
And you can also join us from home throughout the show by using the hashtag #GetOld. We've got some people here in our audience also defying the odds. We thought we'd play our own little numbers game. First, we've got Carrie. Okay, Carrie, let's see. Here you are. All right, so what do you think? 51, 44. We're getting some good numbers here. Carrie is really, drum roll please, 61. Wow. You look great. Sit down.
Thank you.
All right, now let's take a look at Edna. Where are you, Edna? Stand up. Here we go. So, everybody take a look. How old do you think Edna is? 83? 78? 73? All right, another drum roll, please. Edna is a very gorgeous 94. Wow. All right. we can see clearly aging is not what it used to be. Age is really only a number. Of course, the numbers on a scale are real, and Patty decided at an age when many give up to do something about it and turn her life around. Take a look.
I was inspired to change my life after my divorce. I was motivated by some negative comments during my marriage to improve myself. I had been heavy for many years. When my daughter received her induction into the Bar Association, I was probably about 189 pounds. And seeing that picture with my daughter, I was just devastated. It was a big wake-up call. I lost the weight by joining a gym. I would walk on my breaks at school, on my lunch. I've lost a total of 60 pounds. I feel better about myself. People will comment that I look more like their sister than their mother. I think they're annoyed. I believe it's very important to maintain your health and maintain a healthy lifestyle to keep you looking as young as you can for as long as you can.
Well, great attitude. Now, about 7 years ago, you went through quite a transformation, right?
I did. Well, in 2004, I saw that picture that had been taken of her at the bar induction. I was just mortified, and I thought, this girl must be just so embarrassed. The man who is now my son-in-law, he had called me and he said, I'd like your permission to marry Julie, and I want your blessing before. And I said, and how many years are you planning before this wedding takes place? And he said, about 2.5. So I thought, oh my God, I've got to do something.
Yeah, well, first of all, let me congratulate Patty for taking this kind of life challenge and turning it into a life opportunity. That is so important. You also said something really important I want to key into, and that is a lot of people think of aging as something that happens outside and that they want to control. I tell people, you know, nobody's ever died of wrinkles. So a part of healthy aging really has to do with what goes on in the inside, and Patty and I have talked about the postmenopausal years. I don't mean to be a downer, are actually years that bring high risk for certain illnesses, for osteoporosis, for diabetes, and for heart disease. Heart disease is the #1 killer of women over the age of 40. You want to remember the things on the inside that you can't see as well. Maintaining a healthy blood pressure, checking on blood glucose, making sure that you're checking on your bone health. So it's important to look for screening program for yourself to check on cancers, for example, colon, cervical, and breast cancer. Let's say that I'm around the new 40.
Okay.
And so my doctor and I sit, and based on my age and my risk, we put a plan together of the screenings I should have in the course of a year.
Well, you've got a pretty healthy role model for aging in your life.
That I do. My daddy just turned 97 years old.
97. There he is.
97. This was taken just last week. And here's how he's my inspiration. He's my inspiration in a lot of ways, but from an aging perspective, I look at him and say, if this has to last me 37 more years, I better up my game a little bit, right? So, you know, how do you do that? And Patty told us how to do it. You know, it's a little bit at a time. Make a plan and then work the plan.
Now, Frida, didn't your dad also just get married at 90?
He did. 2 days before his 90th birthday. And, you know, he's proof that you can find love at any age. And, in fact, he's not alone in those views. A recent survey that was conducted by Pfizer found that 81% of people over the age of 65 thought that you were never too old to get married. And, you know, it's a new age for aging. Pfizer has a program called Get Old, and it's really intended to help people think differently about aging. And you can go on to getold.com, or you can join the Get Old Facebook and Twitter account, and you can learn more about how to make choices for a healthier life and to try and develop some new perspectives and ideas about what it means to get old.
Well, look, Frida and I get together all the time, and we want to hear from you. So use hashtag GetOld on Facebook and Twitter to send us your thoughts and questions about getting old. I want to thank all of my guests today, especially Dr. Frida Lewis Hall. We'll see you next time. So good to meet you.